Hello and welcome back to art class. Today we are going to wrap up our 3D landscape project. You are going to want to have a few things handy. You may want just your quick drawing. This is just to make sure that you know what order everything's supposed to go in. Hopefully you know pretty well what you want at this point. You should have your three pieces, so you should have your foreground for me. It'll be like this. Then you have your middle ground. And again, it looks like a window on top of this one so I can see through it. And then the background, which will be like this. Okay. You should also have two side pieces. Okay. We're gonna cover that in just a minute. You may wanna have a pencil and eraser handy just in case you need to do some touch-up work. Same thing with colored pencils. May need to be there if you see some spots that you wanna color before we do all the gluing. So make sure you just go in and double check on those things. And you're definitely gonna want some glue. What I wanna do is real quick, review how these side pieces are made. So you have a full sheet of paper and you fold it in half like this, right? So it looks like a card. Right? Then you trim on the end. Right? So you end up with two pieces like this. All right. Then you're going to turn your paper sideways and you fold it in half so that individual, it looks like a book like this, and then you're going to glue it together. Make sure you spread out the glue to cover as much as you can. We don't want it oozing with glue, so you put dots and then you use your nozzle to spread it out. You fold it back in half, smooth it out with your hands so that it's nice and smooth, and you'll end up with a piece of paper that looks a lot like this. It's kind of thicker, almost like cardstock, and it's important that it's been glued together because it makes it strong enough to hold these pieces of paper standing up without wanting to wave arm and things like that. The next step, after you get it glued, please wait for the sides to be fully dried before you try to do this next step, because otherwise it'll be a little weak and it'll be wobbly. You want to wait till these are completely dry. All right, so your papers are going to go like this, so they're up and down. Okay? If you notice, if they're up and down, they fit the side of the pictures. Okay? That's how you know you're going to do it right. And what I'm going to do is then I'm going to fold it in half. We're going to end up making like a accordion fold. Most of you know the zigzaggy fold. Okay. So fold like this, so it's long and skinny. Now, this is where people can get a little confused, so make sure you're paying attention. I turn it this way so it's a little bit easier for me to fold. Right now, it is folded in half, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the open end and I'm going to fold it backwards so that it touches the edge. Like that. Give it a nice crease. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold it over to give it. Just make sure it tries to line up with that edge. So now it zigzag folds like this. But if you notice, it's nice and even. That's why I did it the way I did it. So again, showing you. First, you just fold it in half the long skinny ways. Then, take the top and just fold it back. Make sure it touches the edge there. Then you're gonna flip the whole thing over. Same thing to the back. Okay. So you have two pieces that zigzag. They look like M's and W's. Okay. Next, let's start with the background piece. Again, the background piece should be glued at this time. I did see some people's pictures that were not glued yet, so make sure that this has been glued down. And what we're going to do is I'm going to glue it to the inside edge here and here. So it's going to look like this. Like that. If you want to make it stick out a little bit more, you can glue it a little bit less. just in case you don't want the zigzag to, like for me, if I put it in like this, it covers up quite a bit of the sun, so I could move it out just a little bit so it doesn't cover quite so much, and I think I'm going to do that. So it's something, a bit of an adjustment depending on how your picture is. But they still need to be glued. And again, you want to be careful with the amount of glue that you use. You really don't want this to ooze out. So again, using dots. And then you use the nozzle just to spread it thin. Hold it down for about 10 seconds. Okay, so the first piece is ready. Now I'm going to take my middle ground, it'll be this piece right here, and I have to glue it the same way, so it only gets to be like I glued it about halfway on this one, so I have to glue it about halfway on this next level. Okay? And the same thing over here. So I have to match whatever I did in this level, I have to move on to the next level and do the same exact thing. Pop up just a little bit there. You can kind of see how it looks through. And then I have one more layer to do, which is the outside. And again, it only goes about halfway. Okay, and from your angle, you can see that it's got a little bit of spacing here. I can play with that a little bit. Once it dries, you can kind of manipulate the paper a little bit to spread out the distance here a little bit, and then like that. So what I would like you to do, now that it's when you have yours assembled, what I'd like you to do is take a picture from the front so I can see it just like you're seeing right now. You don't need to lay it down on a table. You can actually use your iPad so it sits like this and take a picture from the front angle. And then I also like you to take a picture from the top so that I can see the spacing of the sections here. You'll need 2 pictures for that in order to do it, but I would like to be able to see it from the front and from the back. Okay? And then you are all set. And I will see you next week.